Hi, this is Frank Wallace at Aaron Green's Vintage Classical Guitars. Today I'm starting a new series of videos and I'm using a gorgeous guitar here it's a Jeffrey Elliott 2015. It's Indian rosewood with a beautiful blackwood stripe down the middle of the back. It has exquisite Rogers tuners with amboina handles which reflect the amboina in the rosette and the amboina in the end piece here. This also features Jeff's signature chipped rosette. That's really exquisite work. So the new series I'm going to do here today is more about my music rather than the guitar, and I want to talk more about my own compositions. And I decided I would start from the very beginning when I started my own composing career, which has been going about 20 years now. I was in my mid-40s and just frankly bored with the business of being a musician. And so I was looking into some new possibilities, tried teaching at a college that was too far away, and then I ended up becoming a child bloom guitar instructor. I called up Kevin Taylor in Austin, Texas, and decided to join up with his crew of teachers around the country, and I did that for about 10 years. It was a great experience, and an unintended consequence was that I found myself writing simple pieces for my young students and became captivated with the whole idea that I could create my own sounds and that I could mold my teaching with the type of music that I could actually write for my students. So it was a profound experience for me and one that changed my life. Where I started out pretty much was writing things that were for very young students, 6, 7, 8 years old. And so I wanted to teach more about scales, and I wanted to teach other things about rest stroke and free stroke and things like that. I wanted them to learn rest stroke in the thumb. I wanted them to learn to shift up and down the neck at an earlier age than might be normal. So I decided all those things could work together very well. So I wrote Single String Studies, #1. There are two later versions of Single String Studies, #2 and #3. The third one is called 6 Prayers on 6 Strings, and it's much more approaching concert level difficulty. Not quite there, not super difficult, but more demanding. And they all maintain the same concept that the melody will be played on one string. So in the first set, in order to keep everything as simple as possible, I only use single strings for the melody and single or double strings for the accompaniment. And those are just open strings, so it's extremely simple. This allows me to focus in on more fundamental musical concepts without so many technical problems as you have with even simple chords and even a simple Caruli piece or a soar piece or something like that. So if we start at the beginning, we start with A. A is the first note of the musical alphabet. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? So we're teaching scales. It's a very easy way to demonstrate what the notes are, where the half steps and whole steps are. By avoiding string shifts like A, B, C, D, that's such a difficult concept to teach. Going from C to D, why is it different? It's difficult, and I found myself having a hard time explaining it, and kids had a hard time understanding it. When you can see it, it's right there. Plus, you get this technical advantage of learning to shift when it's very possible. It's not that hard to shift. Shouldn't be. You get to teach, as you get up here, it's easy to do vibrato, and you can teach vibrato and things that you wouldn't normally teach at a young age. And again, the age doesn't matter. A beginning student, whether they're 20 years old or 60 years old or 6 years old, doesn't matter. So the concept of rest stroke in the thumb is one that's also very important to me. And it's important to know that the thumb has 3 joints. That's a great concept to teach early on. And most people think it only has two, some even just use one. So it ends up being like this, a very stiff hand. So the joints are here, here, and here, but it's also here and here and here. The whole arm is part of it. And so feeling that whole arm, the weight of the arm, and applying force into the guitar is a wonderful thing. It makes a beautiful sound, right? So this is what I had in mind when I wrote these single string studies. So let me present to you single string study number 1 in A natural minor. And it uses just the first string with a simple accompaniment. Let me toss in one other thing first, which is the accompaniment should be softer than the melody. So I use rest stroke in the melody and free stroke in the accompaniment, and I like to make that association. Obviously, when you become more sophisticated and advanced, you're not limited to that concept, but I think it's a really advantageous concept to use for pedagogical reasons. You notice there are a few harmonics in there. They're just 2 harmonics on that 12th fret, so they're quite easy. You have to stretch for 1. So you get to work a little bit on that concept of stretching and opening the hand. What's very important is that E and the melody keep ringing when you play the harmonic. And it's hard to play that harmonic while you're doing a vibrato, but you can slow it down and then speed it back up again and maintain a very expressive level. That note is used towards the end there. I use a big, huge fermata on that note as well, which allows you to listen to the sympathetic vibration set up on the 6th string. Then you can very smoothly proceed to the ending. Sympathetic vibrations can cover shifts in that kind of case, and it opens the ears to the various possibilities on the guitar. So we'll continue with the other 5 single string studies in my next videos. Thanks for watching.